No hoarding in the end of the world+game data flow+decisive killing+invincible faction+no female protagonist harem+selfish and self-interested, fast-paced and refreshing writing, villains never give up their wits, and protagonists never nag. Suyu relied on a supernatural artifact and was reborn on the day of the apocalypse. At the beginning, he kills his girlfriend, who has been green for decades, and awakens his SSS level talent. The Hand of Plunder. In this world, Suyu no longer trusted anyone and embarked on a solitary path of revenge. Ding. You use the Hand of Predation against the Lord of LV100 Abyss to plunder the SS level talent. Magic Dragon Heart, which takes 10 seconds of damage and restores 1% of health per second. Ding. You use the Hand of Plunder against survivors, plundering the SS level talent. Dance of Death. All attacks ignore defense and shields, dealing real damage. Introduction is weak, please move to the main text. Chapter 1. Dharma God. Lick God. Rebirth before the end of the world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My life. Is that all for now? Suyu wore a tattered golden robe, soaked in blood all over, and his body propped up on a purple bone jade staff. This, Suyu, who had repeatedly saved countless Chinese compatriots and was hailed as the youngest Dharma god in China, was falsely accused of being a traitor to humanity. Looking at the experts gathered in front of him, Suyu gasped heavily, protecting the beauty behind him with one hand, standing by the cliff, and behind him was a vast abyss. The top 10 experts of China launched a collective attack to encircle Suyu. But he killed 3 people back, which is enough to show his strength. For a moment, the besieged crowd only dared to shout outside, and no one dared to take the first step. Faction. Your strength is exhausted. There is no way out now. Dharma God, as long as you hand over your equipment, I'll leave you a whole corpse. Suyu, there is an ancient Chinese saying that goes, those who know current affairs are heroes. Hurry up and capture them. Suyu knew she had run out of energy and showed a self-moving smile towards the beauty beside her. Then, the smile froze. A sharp pain came from the lower abdomen. Suyu looked under him in disbelief, and a dagger with a deep purple glow pierced his body from behind. This bloodthirsty dagger was not long ago when Suyu spent a huge amount of money tailoring a protective weapon for Lin Rufei. Suyu looked at Lin Rufei, and from her eyes, she could only feel disgust and disdain. Lin Rufei walked with seductive steps and jumped up to a man, who then embraced her in his arms. Suyu had never experienced this intimate gesture before. Under extreme anger, Suyu's eyes turned red. In the end, it turned into a burst of self-deprecating laughter. Ha ha ha. 10 years. I licked Lin Rufei like a licking dog for 10 years. Now it seems that the efforts made in the past decade are so ridiculous. And her heart, like Suyu's ox, licked harder and harder. For 10 years, Suyu led Lin Rufei. Just like carrying this oil bottle, pour everything out. Only then did she pull her average strength to her current level. Even with Lin Rufei's words, Suyu would turn against her playmate and turn against each other. Suyu always believed that as long as he could be with her forever, he could enter the heart of the goddess. In exchange, it was Lin Rufei's backstab. Lin Rufei's knife made Suyu completely give up her fantasies and see the essence of humanity in this post-apocalyptic world. Feeling the constant passing of vitality, Suyu understood too late. I want revenge. By the way, I have a super artifact ring. I won't fall down so easily. In the next second, I can only watch countless weapons and moves piercing my body. On his deathbed, blood quickly engulfed Suyu's gaze. But the extremely excited faces of his enemies had already been deeply imprinted in Suyu's mind. A ring with a deep red glow flickers, time goes back 10 years. Blue Star, China, Star City. I'm still alive. Suyu's face turned pale and he was sweating profusely, as if everything just now was just a nightmare. The super artifact ring originally worn in the hand, Phoenix Heart, instantly turned into a ball of powder. Sure enough, death triggered the passive effect of Nirvana, returning to 10 years ago. Suyu frowned slightly and turned his head to look around. The memories that had been sealed away for 10 years surged into his heart in an instant. A familiar yet slightly unfamiliar layout, everything is so clear, and this is one's own home when the end of the world comes. The action of opening the phone has become somewhat unfamiliar, after all, he has not used this thing for 10 years. Suddenly, it was written on the screen. Blue Star Calendar, October 6, 2050 11.00. Sure enough, it's reborn. Or 10 years ago. It happened to be the day of the end of the world. 1 hour later, the end of the world came, and from that day on, the world changed. People began to fear being dominated by the apocalypse. But the awakening of survivors also sparked a wave of exploration into the apocalypse. From then on, new rules were born. In this world, being weak is an original sin. This is the rule, it should be so. At this moment, Suyu only wants to cut his hand, the school flower girlfriend who has been sucking his blood for 10 years in the apocalypse. Dialing the phone, the corner of my mouth slightly raised, revealing a faint hint of self-deprecation. Lin Rufei. Known as the most beautiful school flower of 5,000 years. In his past life, the stabbing on his back before his death allowed Suyu to think through too many things. Lin Rufei's sudden disappearance. Endless demand for equipment and supplies. Even practicing with Lin Rufei and that man. A green grassland above my head. Just thinking about it makes me feel frustrated. After a while, on the other end of the phone, Lin Rufei's voice trembled slightly as she tried to suppress herself. Hello. Suyu, calling early in the morning, what do you want? Ah. At this moment, Lin Rufei was under another man, rhythmically undulating, sweating profusely all over her body, and her face blushing. Suyu immediately recognized Lin Rufei's promiscuity and suppressed the anger in her heart. Fei. Come to my house now, I have something to give you. Bag. Watch. Jewelry. Is it that urgent? You damn thing. I'm not going. I still have to work out. Lin Rufei tried to use fitness to evade, but her words were incredibly charming. Both the tone and the script were unheard of by Suyu. Fei, haven't you always wanted my old house? That house is a legacy left by Suyu's parents. That is an old house in the city center, and a developer has taken a liking to that piece of land. They have negotiated with Suyu but were refused. Soon, the school flower Lin Rufei appeared in his life. It seems that all of this is a conspiracy. For me, a house feels more secure than you. Lin Rufei always said this sentence on her lips. Even in the apocalypse, they often slander Suyu, saying they lack a sense of security. Come to my house. I'll take you to transfer ownership, and I'll give you this house as a gift. Is it really fake? Lin Rufei was overjoyed and even her voice became clear. You wait, I'll come over right away. If you dare to deceive me, I will post your matter online. After hanging up the phone, Lin Rufei finally released her long pent-up emotions. After finishing the task, I didn't forget to pinch the man's big crotch. Master, the man who lowered his head finally agreed to give me that house. Lin Rufei frowned and let out a coquettish tone. The man lit a post-event cigarette and took an epic breath. Slowly exhaled a cigarette ring and sprayed it on Lin Rufei, revealing a strange smile. Not bad. There is a saying in China that goes. Empty-handed white wolf. Suyu, don't give me your face, didn't you obediently give me the house? Congratulations, master. When I get the house, I'll get rid of that guy with a head down, okay? Don't worry, let's slowly torture him. Think of his desperate face, every cell in my body is excited. Okay, master. I'll go back and see you at the same place tonight. Lin Rufei cleared the battlefield for the man thoughtfully before leaving the hotel. "Huh, you little slut." The man chuckled, his eyes becoming extremely cold. According to meteorological experts' explanation, starting this morning, the sky turning red is a natural wonder. It is reported that there were records of this scenery in ancient Mayan civilization. A barrage asking if it's the end of the world, big brother. 2012 has already passed. Please believe in experts, eat rationally, and avoid conspiracy theories, audience friends. The sound of the TV was loud, and in the news channel, several experts resembling dogs were discussing the anomalies in the sky. Suyue lit a flower and waited quietly for Lin Rufei's arrival. Chapter 2. Killing the School Flower Girlfriend. You are listening at novel full.audio. Suyu, did you smoke? Lin Rufei frowned as soon as she entered the door and threw a foul face at Suyu. Looking at the school flower girlfriend in front of her, Suyu felt a bit dazed for a moment. I saw Lin Rufei, with fresh and natural facial features, fair and delicate skin, and a symmetrical and slender figure. A one-shoulder white floral dress with a pink background and khaki-colored small leather shoes. Whether it's her outfit or makeup, it's just right, showcasing her youth and vitality. Perhaps it was in a hurry, with my chest constantly rising and falling, revealing a hint of spring light in front of me. If it were Suyu from a previous life, she might have been controlled by Lin Rufei in just a few minutes. Lin Rufei once told Suyu that she was allergic to the smell of smoke and never allowed Suyu to smoke. But Suyu realized that on the way Lin Rufei came over, although she had carefully cleaned herself up. But there was a faint smell of tobacco on her body. She never smokes, and it goes without saying where the smoke comes from. This blatant double standard is Lin Rufei's consistent technique. It's just that Suyu, who was a boiling lamb in his past life, was unaware of it. Now standing outside, I can see clearly. With a self-deprecating smile, I was really a fool back then. Are you here? Suyu placed the cigarette on the table, looked up, and said expressionlessly. Lin Rufei furrowed her brows even tighter, appearing quite impatient with Suyu's indifferent expression. If it were normal, Lin Rufei would have had a seizure and left. At this moment, she only wants to complete the master's task. Forget it, where's the property certificate? I have already made an appointment online, go and do it now. Hurry up and leave. I have something else to do later. So I went straight to the topic, too lazy to say a word more. After speaking, Lin Rufei remained calm and walked over, kicking Suyu with her foot. Familiar tone. Familiar actions. In the past decade, Lin Rufei was like this every day. Standing high, treating Suyu as a hardworking slave. Let Suyu willingly, without dignity, pay for her and try to move her. If it weren't for the backstab, Suyu would probably still be like a licking dog at this moment, letting her drive him. It's just a joke. Suyu stood up and looked at Lin Rufei with a cold gaze, as if looking at a dead person. The hot and humid weather at noon in Xingqing made Lin Rufei feel a chill in her spine. The kicked foot actually stopped in mid-air. What are you doing? Lin Rufei's voice trembled slightly, and she felt that Suyu, who was originally gentle and sincere, seemed to have become extremely unfamiliar. Suyu did not answer, but instead demonstrated his attitude through actions. Pop. A heavy slap in the face. Lin Rufei was slapped and her expression became dazed. Stumbling and falling directly to the ground. Suyue, you're crazy. You're a coward, dare you hit me? I want to report it to the police. She shouted for help loudly, but to no avail. But it was discovered that the volume of the TV had already been turned up by Suyu. Lin Rufei covered her swollen face and crawled around, only to find that the door had been locked by Suyu. She immediately realized that all of this seemed to have been premeditated. Suyu slowly approached and grabbed Lin Rufei's hair with a big hand. With a violent tug, she was thrown to the ground. Lin Rufei began to feel a bit scared and couldn't stop trembling. It's really ironic, asking for my house while having sex with other men. Suyu crouched down and, at some point in her hand, pulled out a bright sharp knife and pointed it at Lin Rufei's chin before finally speaking. Lin Rufei widened her eyes and had an incredulous expression on her face. Her brain quickly moved and she began to argue. This is a misunderstanding. If you think this way, I can't do anything about it. I just made a mistake, it's just a mistake that a normal girl would make. Last night, my best friend insisted on me going. I don't even know that person. What else do you want if he wears them all? Even 1 millimeter is enough to keep a distance. Actually, I am also a victim, can't you understand me? I won't do this in the future, I only now know how good you are. Buzz. The vibration from her phone interrupted Lin Rufei's sophistry, and she appeared somewhat panicked. Suyue bent down and aimed the dropped phone at her face, forcefully unlocking it. Successfully unlocked, just staying in the chat window with the owner. Little bitch, did you miss me? Master, you hate it. I'm in your shape now, and I can't even drive the car well. On the Housing Management Bureau's side, I have already said hello. You can take Suyu directly over. Okay, master. Just wait for my good news. Little slut, call me twice and I'll listen. Master, they are still driving. Finally, there are several 60-second long spring calls attached by Lin Rufei. Even included a welfare video specially recorded while waiting for traffic lights. You really have fun. Suyu slapped her phone on Lin Rufei's colorless face, and any further explanation was just a joke. Lin Rufei suddenly became hysterical. Setting aside the facts, are you not wrong? As the flower of Xingqing University, there are so many people chasing me. Why did I choose you as an orphan? If it weren't for the master's task, I wouldn't have been too lazy to have any relationship with you and be indifferent. Now let me tell you, not only do I have the Lin family behind me, but I am also a person of young master Bai Shihao. Do you dare to touch me? Lin Rufei's tone became extremely harsh, and after saying these words, she looked at Suyu playfully. The Lin family is also somewhat famous in Xingqing, and Lin Rufei is the youngest princess of the Lin family. And the Baishir family she mentioned is the largest family in the neighboring Sakura country. They expanded their power and extended their claws to China. Xingqing is their outpost in China, managed by the son of the 3 elders of the family, Bai Shihao. The subordinate real estate company was interested in the Suyu family's land, but multiple communications were unsuccessful. I thought about this no-cost deal, which not only allowed me to enjoy the pleasure of being the neighboring old king, but also humiliated Suyu. In the end of the world, Suyu still had some skills. Relying on Lin Rufei's exploitation, Bai Shihao benefited greatly. In the end, Bai Shihao was also promoted to one of the top 10 experts in China as the only foreigner. Becoming the leader of the encirclement and suppression of Suyu at the beginning of the story. What a satire. However, after saying all of this, Suyu's face did not stir up any waves. At this moment, Lin Rufei was completely flustered. Suyu gave a faint smile, and the daggers thrust out one after another. As a woman, Lin Rufei couldn't match Suyu's strength and could only be slaughtered. Under Suyu's deliberate operation, each knife cleverly avoided the area where pain nerves were concentrated. 2 cuts directly severed the great saphenous vein behind Lin Rufei's legs. In an instant, Lin Rufei lost her mobility and watched helplessly as 2 streams of dark red blood slowly seeped out of the wound. Without much thought, Suyu made 2 more cuts and directly cut open the radial artery at the left and right wrists. In an instant, 2 streams of crimson blood gushed out. Lin Rufei didn't feel much pain, but she could clearly feel her heartbeat, as if it had weakened a bit. 2 more cuts soon, the white clothes dyed red, and the ground was also covered with Lin Rufei's blood. Making Lin Rufei clearly feel the disappearance of life is Suyu's goal. I just felt my eyelids getting heavier and heavier, and Lin Rufei found it extremely difficult to speak and breathe. But Su Yu's surging killing intent finally made her see reality clearly. At this moment, she felt the fear of death. Suyue, you can do anything to me, please don't kill me. Suyue, don't you want to taste my taste? Suyu. Help me, ah. But her plea for mercy did not stop Su Yu's movements. Finally, after pleading for mercy, she gradually lost her vitality. Death is just an instant, but the process of death has been experienced by Lin Rufei for a full 10 minutes. In the eyes of those who refuse to close their eyes, there are 4 parts of shock, 3 parts of despair, and 3 parts of regret. The last cut through the neck. Hands up and knives down. The head was hanging on the side with a hint of flesh skin attached. Suyu held up to the sky. 10 years of obsession with licking dogs. At this moment, the smoke and clouds finally dissipated. At this moment, I feel incredibly happy because I killed someone. The reason for doing this is also to complete the killing at the moment of the end of the world. As a reborn individual, Suyu naturally knew. Survivors can awaken their talents after completing their first kill. As is well known, in the apocalypse, killing is also the first kill. The level of awakening talent is not only related to individual physical fitness, but also to the awakening time. In theory, the earlier one awakens a talent, the higher the level of talent awakened. This is part of the plan. It's also an ideal perfect start. Sure enough, in the moment of wielding Lin Rufei's sword, time arrived at exactly 12 o'clock, and the end of the world had arrived. The familiar sound of the system rang in Su Yu's ear. Ding! Congratulations to the survivor's hand-blade enemy, Rebirth from Nirvana, completing the world's first kill, awakening their talent. Hand of Predation, SSS level. Chapter 3. Awakening SSS level talent. You are listening at novel full.audio. The time of the blue star came to a standstill at exactly 12 o'clock. Pop, pop. World announcement. Good afternoon, you survivors, I am an orderly person. You can also call me Godlord. Welcome to the new world that I have created for you guys, global digitization. You will receive a data panel, and everyone will have a chance to change their name. And the remaining 7 billion people have been turned into zombies by our Lord, hunting and killing you. Death or something, there's no need to worry at all, because each survivor has only one life. The original food and water sources of Blue Star have all been destroyed by this person, and it is impossible for them to indulge in it. Next is the spoilers. First, all survivors obtain wristbands and can interact through them. Second, survivors will receive an opportunity to awaken their talent after completing their first kill. Third, by killing zombies, you can gain experience, coins, equipment, items, and supplies. Fourth, the development period for beginners is 7 days. After 7 days, the zombies' attack desire and evolution speed will be greatly improved. This world is full of infinite possibilities. Whatever you want to do it as you please. Alright, after a 1-minute countdown, let's start right away. Please enjoy this rich and desperate apocalypse. The tone of the orderly is like a harmless child to humans and animals. All information appears synchronously in the minds of each survivor. Many people thought it was a hallucination or a prank, but Su Yu was clear about the cruelty and despair of the apocalypse. Despite Su Yu's rebirth and return, he carefully confirmed the rules, no different from his previous life. So, urging the bracelet. Survivor, Su Yu, welcome to the end of the world. Do you need to change your name? Yes. Renamed to Lone Wolf. Langtong is a typical social animal that cooperates and assists each other in hunting. Moreover, wolves hold the greatest grudges and have extremely strong retaliatory tendencies. And the lone wolf is a different species among wolf packs. They don't like being manipulated and are more willing to take responsibility for themselves. The reason for choosing Lone Wolf is to seek revenge. In the apocalypse, the most terrifying thing is not zombies, but humans. Suyu has seen too many examples of brothers turning against each other and couples harming each other. Even himself is no exception. Lick until the end, nothing. In this world, Suyu no longer trusted anyone and embarked on a solitary path of revenge. Stepping on the corpse of the enemy, step by step becoming stronger. Open the property panel. Name. Solitary wolf occupation. None level. 1 experience. 0 out of 10 strength. 10 affects physical attack power, spirit. 10 affects spell attack power, physical fitness. 10 affects defense, agility. 10 affects movement and attack speed, lucky value. 0 affects explosion rate and chance of adventure, storage rack. 0.1 cubic meters equipment column. Currently unavailable main talent. Hand of Predation, SSS level, sub-talent. Currently unavailable skills section. Utilitarianism, 1/1, strength, spirit, physique, and agility belong to the 4 fundamental attributes. The orderer will assign different initial attributes based on scanning. The minimum is 1 point and the maximum is 10 points, while the median for ordinary adults is 5 points. You should know that originally all the data in Suyue were 5 points, which is quite moderate. After 10 years of the apocalypse, those physical reactions and combat skills have been engraved in the bones. After scanning, everything is full. Can't wait to check out the talents you just acquired. The world's first kill. What awakens is still an SSS level talent. In the apocalypse, whether it is for humans, zombies, or exotic beasts, the level of talent determines his growth limit. The awakening probability decreases sequentially from the lowest level F.level talent to the highest level SSS level talent. The awakening probability of E.level talents is 1 in 10. The awakening probability of D.level talents is 1%. And so on. In the apocalypse, there are many types of talents that can awaken. The higher the level, the more incredible the effect. For example, the F.level scavenger talent. Survival supplies drop by 50%. For example, AD.level healing talent. Increases the healing effect by 100%. For example, the A.level vampire talent can take blood when dealing damage. Once it reaches level S or above, it can be considered an incredible existence. For example, the S.level bestowal of liberation. Critical hit rate increases by 100%, and with each move, a critical hit is guaranteed. For example, the SS level dance of death. All attacks ignore defense and shields, causing real damage. In the apocalypse, there is a saying that goes like chicken soup for the soul. There are no inferior talents, only inferior people. According to their theory, as long as they are good at researching and mining, they can apply their talents to the extreme. You can find your own position on a certain track. In his past life, Suyu relied on A.level talent and the heart of a mage. The promotion to the position of the Chinese Dharma god became the best example in their mouths. But looking at other experts, which one is not an S.level or higher talent? Soul chicken soup, just listen to it. Only Suyu himself was aware of the difficulties and sacrifices in growing up. Talent. Hand of Predation, SSS level, talent level. SSS level, the only talent. Utilitarianism. Survivors with this talent can plunder the talent of other creatures once for every level increase, and the looted creature will lose that talent. Note. Special talents cannot be plundered. Current count. 1 out of 1. Seeing this, Suyu couldn't calm down in an instant. As a deity in his past life, Suyu was well aware of the importance of talent. You should know that the highest level SSS level talent has a awakening probability of only 1 in a billion. What concept? The total population of Blue Star is 8 billion, with 1 billion survivors. Only 10 people can awaken SSS level talents. Moreover, according to the description of talents, each level of improvement can plunder talents once. And the other survivors, except for the first talent obtained during the first kill. The second talent can only be awakened and the level reaches level 60. It means that in the middle of the apocalypse, it is only possible to have 2 talents. According to the highest level of 100, Suyu can have up to 100 talents. So, when you see someone else's powerful talent, just grab it directly. Moreover, there are no restrictions on the plundered objects. The target of plunder is not only limited to survivors, but also includes all living beings. This means that even among survivors, suitable talents cannot be found. You can also turn your target towards those boss-level zombies, and their talents will be even more incredible. 1 minute countdown, say it's long or short. After taking a deep breath, Suyu closed the panel and waited for the end of the world to come. In the second of the apocalypse, as the first survivor to obtain an SSS level talent, Suyu received even greater rewards. Congratulations to the survivor, Lone Wolf, becoming the first survivor in the apocalypse to awaken an SSS level talent and achieving the only achievement. The Chosen One. World announcement coming soon. Do you want to hide your name? No. Suyu took a deep breath and replied. Chapter 4. World announcement, selected people. You are listening at novel full.audio. All survivors have received a world announcement from the Order 1. Pop. World announcement. Survivor, Lone Wolf, becomes the first person in the apocalypse to awaken an SSS level talent, achieving the world's only achievement. The Chosen One, while also receiving massive rewards. Please follow his lead as other survivors. The world announcement has been broadcasted 3 times. The next second, the whole world exploded. In the apocalypse. A lone wolf. Is this Nima funny? Darling. Your teeth touched me. Shut up. It's broken. In the hotel, a wealthy second generation looked at the woman under her with a chicken pecking at the rice, his words filled with tears. I have read hundreds of apocalyptic novels, which is not difficult for me. Damn it. I am surrounded by zombies. In the office building, an intern regained consciousness from the pause and met 6 beautiful zombies head on. The lone wolf, little brother, is so powerful. Hurry up and rescue the stinky treasure. There are many bad things outside, making a fuss. A little fairy hiding in a rental room muttered. Fuck. A lone wolf. Are you from China? Isn't the first kill me? A violent man from a beautiful country, holding a composite bow, shot and killed the person next to him. While people were amazed by Suyu, this apocalyptic catastrophe had arrived. The entire blue star, in an instant, became chaotic. The originally red sky, as if reaching a critical point, instantly turned red. The vehicle lost its power, and with it came the sound of alarms and collisions. However, this is just the prelude to this catastrophe. Panic quickly spread among survivors, and the whole world was filled with panicked crowds. They watched helplessly as their companions transformed into zombies in the mouth of the orderly in just a few seconds. These zombies have white eyes, extremely disharmonious limbs trembling, and their movement speed far exceeds that of ordinary people. The zombie opened its bloody mouth, almost cracking to the ear and emitting a terrifying roar. They rushed towards the crowd like crazy. Countless zombies emitted a deafening roar, mixed with human screams and cries, filling every corner of the city. In just a few minutes, limbs were severed, organs and blood appeared in every corner, and Blue Star became a purgatory. Many survivors died on the spot, and more were infected, gradually becoming new zombies. World announcements are not just about making appearances, but more importantly, their rewards. In the first second of the apocalypse, the world announcement was made. It has to be said that Suyu has already won at the starting line. The protagonist of this world announcement is happily receiving his massive rewards. Receive the achievement reward of Tianxian person. Reputation *1000, gold *1000, and expand the storage space of the bracelet to 1 cubic meter. Obtain the title of Tianxian person. It's like Qin Shihuang touching the switch to win, numbness. Reputation is a rare good thing. Including purchase discounts, special item purchase permissions, copy entry permissions, and so on. And gold coins, needless to say. After the 7-day beginner period ends, in the safe zones of major cities, you can use coins to purchase supplies in the system store. The storage space of the bracelet expanded, finally freeing Su Yu's backpack behind him. You should know that the expansion of the wristband is normal. It requires a considerable amount of gold coins or specific tasks. 1 cubic meter is definitely enough now. And the most important thing is the title, which has extremely strict acquisition conditions and is unattainable for ordinary people. When Su Yu advanced to the level of the Dharma god, he only obtained the temporary title of the first Dharma god of China, which shows its preciousness. Unlike the first Chinese Dharma god, this is a permanent title. Selected by heaven. The only title in the world, a permanent title, and the first survivor in the apocalypse to awaken an SSS level talent. Attribute. Permanent +5 for all attributes. After carrying the title, the damage increases by an additional 10% and the damage taken is reduced by 10%. Permanent +5 for all attributes, equivalent to 4 levels higher than others in attribute fairness. Moreover, it comes with the most noble percentage attribute. Although at present, the 10% increase and decrease in damage are not worth considering. But in the late apocalypse, when everyone was numerical monsters, the bonus given was quite considerable. The only drawback is that each person can only carry one title at the same time. Take your title with you decisively. Who knows when you'll get the next title? The sound of running, fighting, and shouting inside the community. It's too chaotic outside now, so you decided to wait for the situation to settle down a bit before going out. If you were accidentally injured when opening the door, wouldn't it be a laughingstock? After finishing the rest, Su Yu put some tools that had already been prepared into his bracelet. Take out another bone-chopping knife from the kitchen. This is the only weapon available besides the dagger that assassinated Lin Rufei. Before obtaining the apocalyptic weapon, one can only use this type of equipment with no attributes to attack. Su Yu crossed over Lin Rufei's body, feeling lost in thought. Lin Rufei, this is just a chess piece. The Lin family behind him, as well as the main leader Bai Shihao and the Bai Shijia behind him. He is the greatest enemy of his past and present life. But he knew that there was a huge gap in strength between himself and the Lin and Bai Shi families now. We must step on the bodies of our enemies, grow stronger step by step, and slowly devour them. Whether they are intentional or unintentional, good people or bad people. Those who have hurt themselves. Everyone has to die. At this moment, Su Yu already had a goal in mind. In my impression, there is a suitable target for plundering in the building where he is located. At this moment, the outside of the room was already quiet. After confirming safety through the cat's eye, I walked out of the room. By sealing off the fire escape, the entire 8th floor became a separate space. This is a small corridor with 4 households per elevator, a standard commercial and residential building. However, only 2 households lived, Su Yu, and an old man and woman from 804. Although the gate of 804 is tightly closed, there is a lot of noise coming from inside. These old couple moved in a year ago. Since they moved in, a foul odor often comes from the door and window. Later on, they found out that they were picking up waste and using the house as a garbage dump. At first, they only used the indoor space for stacking. Later on, even the public corridors became places for sorting and stacking garbage. Every morning at 6 o'clock, I am not awakened by an alarm clock. But it was awakened by the clanging sound of them. They organize cardboard boxes, or the sound of stepping on bottles and cans. Even if it's a complaint to the property management, or even reporting to the police. Every time someone comes, the old man and the old lady pretend to be deaf and mute, but it can last for 2 days. But in just 2 days, it became even worse. Going back and forth, the property management was also overwhelmed, so they simply ignored it. Adhering to the concept that more is better than less, instead morally kidnapping Su Yu and urging him to be magnanimous. Remembering the old man and the old lady privately facing themselves, with a confident and righteous face, as if this place belonged to them. This made Su Yu extremely unhappy. In their past lives, they turned into zombies at the beginning and died under Su Yu's command. Like itching through a pair of boots, relieving hatred but not completely relieving it. Suddenly, the old lady ran out of the room and shouted as she ran. "Old master, it's better to be a bit confused in life, don't be too particular about every detail. Don't worry, the child is definitely yours. Just look a bit like it. I just made the same mistake as a normal woman. Don't bite me." After speaking, the old lady kicked her husband back into the room and closed the door. In no time, a knocking sound came from the room, clearly not something that a normal old man could make. And the old lady sat slumped on the ground, feeling a bit frightened and uncertain. Good guy. A few short sentences almost burned Su Yu's CPU. This old lady may not be Long Jing. Old green tea from 1982. This line is exactly the same as Lin Rufei, and it is unknown who plagiarized it. Chapter 5. Plundering S.Level Talents, Lucky Arrival at Full Level. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. At this moment, Su Yu discovered the bite marks on the old lady's arm. Obviously, it was infected by the zombie transformed by the old man just now. According to the current situation of the old lady, in just 1 minute, she will also become one of the zombies. However, Su Yu still instinctively checked the basic information of the old lady, which was a habit developed in the apocalypse. To my extreme horror, the old lady actually completed her first kill and awakened her talent. Li Taiapi, Zombification, LV2, No Profession, S.Level Talent. Full Level Luck. Su Yu knew the old lady's surname was Li, but he didn't know it was such a unique name. As the saying goes, a person is just like their name, and as for the sweet potato skin, it can also be considered as the troublemaker she mentioned. Different from the personal information that can be observed in previous lives, through one's own SSS level talent. Surprisingly, one can directly observe the target's talent. Unexpected joy. S.Level talents have only a 1 in a million chance of awakening. Surprisingly, it fell on the head of an old lady who was about to turn into a zombie. You should know that in S.Level talents, even if you reach the full level of luck, it belongs to non-combat talents. In combat, although slightly inferior to other S.Level talents. But precisely because it is extremely rare, no one can underestimate its existence. The comprehensive explosion rate in the apocalypse is extremely low. To put it bluntly, luck can directly affect the kill rate, including equipment, items, and supplies. To put it bluntly, the chances of encountering adventures such as hidden missions, hidden dungeons, and hidden professions are all linked to luck. So, whenever a piece of equipment that can increase luck appears, even if its other attributes are poor, it will be fiercely sought after by various forces. If it appears in an auction house, it is definitely a sky-high price. MacArthur, a 5-star critic from the United States, once said that if he were to choose between a well-trained 1,000-man unit and a 1-point lucky point, he would not hesitate to choose the lucky point. In his past life, when Su Yu was promoted to the position of Dharma god, his lucky value was only 2 points, indicating his golden value. Before she turned into a zombie, Su Yu didn't hesitate to use the Hand of Plunder. Ding! You used the Hand of Plunder against the survivor, Li Taiapi, and successfully looted your talent. Remaining times. 0, ding. You have obtained an S.level talent. Full level luck. Sleeping trough, is that enough? Talent. Full luck, S.level, talent level. S level. God's favor. Survivors with this talent have their luck locked at 10 points at full level. Lucky values will not be affected by any equipment or scenes. This means that even if you acquire certain equipment that reduces your luck in the future, or are in some instances that reduce your luck, you will not be affected at all. At the beginning, one can only describe a lucky start with 4 words. Far ahead. Mrs. Lee, who had been plundered by Suyu for her talent, felt like something had been taken away from her. But I can't say what it feels like. At this moment, Mrs. Lee's body has gradually been infected by zombies. The change was visible to the naked eye, yet she was completely unaware of it. Mr. Lee looked at Suyu muttering something blindly, with a smile on his face, and gave him a blank glance. A comrade in his 70s who has fallen and doesn't know how to help him. Xiao Su. What are you looking at? Why don't you help me up yet? Didn't your mother teach you to respect the old and love the young? Mrs. Lee bared her big yellow teeth and struggled to get up as she spoke. Unexpectedly, Suyu hit him on the knee, as if weighing 1,000 pounds. Halfway up, her plump body trembled and heavily bumped against the wall. This fall knocked out her newly set golden teeth this year, and her mouth was immediately covered in blood. If it weren't for waiting for her to become a zombie and gaining more experience, Su would have killed her earlier. Suyu's hands spread out, appearing somewhat innocent. The yin-yang strange airway. I've lost a few teeth, how could I be so careless? I'm sorry, okay. Not careful. It's clearly intentional. Oh my. Hitting someone. Hitting someone. College students hitting someone. Come over and take a look. Mrs. Lee lay on the ground, raised her hands, crying and pounding the ground. She tried to attract the attention of others on the floor, but no one came. If one plan fails, come up with another plan. Xiao Su. My son is Li Gang, you know what? He's from the street police station. We'll adjust the surveillance later, and he's making it impossible for you to lift your pants. Mrs. Lee extended her finger and pointed at Suyu's nose, with a fierce expression on her face. In Suyu's eyes, Mrs. Lee was simply like inserting a straw into a cesspool. Risking her life to suck on feces, to kill. Without further ado, Suyu struck with a single blow and cut off her outstretched hand from her wrist. At the fracture, blood gushes out. Ah! Killing! Killing! Then, with a few cuts, she cut off Mrs. Lee's limbs. Faced with a human who is about to become a zombie, it is reasonable to cut off her limbs and make her lose her combat power, right? However, strangely enough, Mrs. Lee couldn't feel the pain herself. At this moment, she fell into a pool of blood like a person swine, and finally felt afraid. Feeling nervous, I actually lost control. Urine mixed with blood, but she couldn't do anything. Please. Don't kill me, I will definitely be a good person in the future. Be a good person. In the next life. Hee, actually, I still like your rebellious appearance. Suyu smiled slightly and interrupted Mrs. Lee's words. Mrs. Lee didn't react and was still pondering Suyu's words. Suddenly, her body stiffened and her brain went blank. Then, the world in front of her spun around, and her head rolled more than 10 times before stopping. Ding! Successfully killed the zombie LV2, gaining 20 experience and 2 coins. Ding! Level up to level 2 and gain 5 free attribute points. Ding! The Hand of Talent Plunder, remaining times. 1. Vaguely, a glimmer of green light shone beneath the zombie corpse in the pool of blood. Kicking over the separated corpse with 1 foot, a ring shimmering with green light pressed beneath it. Suyu recognized at a glance that it was the unique radiance of apocalyptic equipment. In the apocalypse, all equipment has a level division, from bottom to top, as follows. Normal level, excellent level, legendary level, mythical level, and supergod level. There are a total of 6 levels. The post-apocalyptic explosion rate is already low, almost all of which are survival supplies, and the explosion rate of equipment items is quite touching. After the 7-day beginner period, if you can have 1 or 2 ordinary level equipment, you can even boast about it. And now, with my first move, I have gained something. Long GE's classic lines, blurting out. Wow, the explosion rate is really high. Hehe, truly deserving of full level luck. It's like a little sparrow pecking at a cow for joy. The bird's food is really amazing. In the previous life, under the suppression of Lin Rufei, Suyu enjoyed a life of nostalgia and lived a life of sweet potato skin. A slight discomfort in speaking led to Lin Rufei's hot and cold violence. So he has always remained silent and silent. Perhaps it was suppressed for too long, after continuously cutting off the school flower girlfriend and Mrs. Li. Suyu's backlog of nature has also been released, and his whole person has become much more sunny and cheerful. As the saying goes, if you don't get bad in silence, you get sick in silence. Refusing mental exhaustion, saying what you want to say, letting go of yourself, why not? Chapter 6. The Golden Value of Full Level Luck. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Pick up the ring on the ground and check its properties. Ring of Vitality. Excellent level equipment. A timeless ring, cast using a simple spell that can bring vitality to the carrier. Attribute. Constitution +5 passive. After leaving the battle, it can slowly restore vitality values. Set effect, 1/2. Not activated. The Ring of Vitality and the Ring of Energy are one of the most cost-effective equipment in the pre-apocalyptic period. In battle, it is inevitable to have some minor bumps and bumps. As long as it does not cause muscle or bone damage, or irreversible injuries such as broken hands and feet. When the level is not high, one night, it can basically recover to 7, 8, or 8. But after all, it is only an excellent level equipment, and compared to the legendary, mythological, and even supernatural equipment that Suyu had before, its attributes are obviously not worth considering. However, what else do you need a bicycle for free? Moreover, the methods for obtaining those equipment, as well as the opening methods for hidden missions and hidden dungeons, Suyu, as a newcomer, is very clear. When one's own strength is sufficient, going to get it again is just a matter of picking it up effortlessly. Suyu wore the Ring of Vitality in his hand. Ding! The Ring of Vitality is equipped. Warm reminder. Survivors can wear 2 rings at the same time. Then, add all 5 free attribute points to the power. Basic attributes. Strength. 20, Spirit. 15, Constitution. 20, Agility. 15, before level 10, in the absence of skills, restrain all flashy power. Anyway, the other attributes are currently sufficient. At this point, the anti-theft door of 804 was already shaking under the continuous impact of the old man's zombies. However, the general sense of smell of zombies is extremely poor, and they can only rely on vision and hearing to lock in their prey. So when there was no movement at the door, the old man's zombie also stopped moving. After taking the door key from Mrs. Li's waist, Suyu calmly turned it on. The old man's zombie heard the commotion and let out a low roar. Taking action first was the best move, and Suyu suddenly opened the anti-theft door. For eyes facing each other, a lean zombie wearing a basketball vest, with numerous scars on his body. Who knows, Mrs. Li just did something to it. It waved its broken claws and grabbed towards Suyu's face. Suyu leaned slightly, extended his legs, and gently stirred. The old man's zombie stumbled and rushed out, finally stabilizing his figure. Unexpectedly, another foot crushed Mrs. Li's head, which can be considered revenge. After losing balance, the old man's zombie plunged into the garbage dump in the hallway. With a bang. In an instant, cans, plastic bottles, and cardboard scattered all over the ground. Suyu took the opportunity to check the attributes of the zombie. Weak zombies, level 1 basic attributes. Strength 6, spirit 15, constitution 6, agility 3, after zombieization, humans have added some attributes to their ontology. It can be seen from this that this old man was indeed very energetic during his lifetime. Otherwise, there wouldn't be at least a thunderous Suyue every day. However, 6 points of strength and 3 points of agility. It means slow movement and average damage. In Suyu's eyes, this attribute is clearly not worth considering. The old man's zombie got up and grabbed the paint bucket on his head haphazardly. Coincidentally, it's still a green one. Suyu certainly wouldn't miss this opportunity. He stepped forward and aimed his bone-cutting knife at its neck. The old man's zombie finally took off the paint bucket and instinctively used his arm to block it. After continuously splitting both hands, the strength of this knife slightly decreased, but it still cut off the zombie's chin. The zombie still doesn't give up, even if only the upper jaw is left, even if there are no claws, they will bite Suyu. Suyu remained calm at all, the second blow had already been made, and the zombies were unavoidable. The head was directly chopped off and smashed into the paint bucket. It seems that that's where the old man belongs. Ding! Successfully killed zombie LV1, gaining 10 experience and 1 gold coin. Suyu took a deep breath and his brain rapidly reviewed. He is somewhat dissatisfied with the performance just now. In theory, it could be solved with just 1 blow, but it took 2 cuts. After all, I was a master in my past life, so I am not very good at close combat. Kicking away the corpses lying on the ground yields another harvest. What exploded this time is a universal capsule. Generally speaking, the universal capsule represents the material of the apocalypse and is an indispensable item for survivors. From candy sodas to seafood giants like roasted whole lamb, they can all be included. The usage method is also quite simple, just press the button at the top of the capsule, and the material will appear. However, the capsules are disposable and do not have a recycling function. Any leftovers can only be stored in a wristband. According to the rules, during the apocalypse, all the original food on Blue Star will spoil. Due to the 7-day novice period, safety zones in major cities can only be opened. At that time, survivors can use coins to purchase supplies from the system store. Go is impossible. To obtain necessary survival supplies, the only way is to kill zombies. Sure enough, on the label of the capsule, it reads, A2L bottle of Feijiai happy water. As is well known, one can live for 7 days without eating, and only 3 days without drinking water. In the apocalypse, clean water sources are particularly important. And Feijiai happy water not only replenishes moisture, but also has a carbon water burst surface, making it a rare and excellent resource. Press the button, the capsule bursts open, and a bottle of Feijiai happy water appears in front of Suyu. Suyu took a few gulps, rested for a moment, and went up to the 9th floor. In my impression, this floor is also home to 2 households. Sure enough, just as we approached the public area on the 9th floor, I heard the sound of walking back and forth, as well as the unique roar of zombies. Good guy, there are still 2. A bear-child zombie hangs upside down on the ceiling. The other one pushing the stroller is an ordinary zombie. Suyu checked the attributes of 2 zombies, and except for the bear-child's agility reaching 12 points, the other attributes are not much different from ordinary zombies. Although stronger than ordinary people, it is much worse than Suyu. When they saw the living person, the 2 zombies became extremely excited. The zombies roared and rushed towards Suyu with one go and another. Seemingly imposing, but in reality, there is no organization. The biggest drawback of this ordinary zombie is that it lacks intelligence. Those who only understand launch attacks on humans based on their instincts. Click. Suyu retreated instead of advancing and stepped forward. First, with a single blow, the agile and first to arrive bear-child zombie was neatly cut into two pieces. A curtain of blood splattered out in front of me, blocking the view of ordinary zombies. When it passed through the blood curtain, it only saw that the bone-cutting knife had been waiting for a long time, accurately hitting the neck. Once raw, twice cooked. Suyu has become increasingly adept at using the bone-cutting knife. Ding! Successfully killed zombie LV1, gaining 10 experience and 1 gold coin. 2 consecutive system prompts, experience received at 20 o'clock. We are still 60 experience points away from level 3. Chapter 7. Open the door, FBI sweeps pornography. You are listening at novel full.audio. After the 2 zombies died, 2 consumable items appeared next to them. What a gap. Thinking about my past life, I was hungry for 3 days at the beginning. I finally managed to get out, exhausted and past the novice phase. As soon as I took out the bracelet, it was even cleaner than my face. If it weren't for the apple with a zombie explosion, it might have died during the beginner phase. After eating half of it, I found that the apple had been eaten by worms. Suyu picked up 2 props and had good luck. Silver bird claw. A regular level consumable. Consume a small amount of energy and improve observation ability within 5 minutes of use. The pot of inducing enemies. A regular level consumable. Consume a small amount of energy, throw the pot of attraction to attract the attention of humanoid zombies, with a range of 10 meters, lasting for 1 minute, and disappear after taking damage. This thing, even though it's just a regular level consumable. But if used properly, one can achieve twice the result with half the effort in the apocalypse. Not bad. I'll be able to use it soon. Suyu smiled slightly and put it all into the bracelet. Continuing with a knife, he smashed open the fire box on the 9th floor and took out the fire axe from it. A series of movements caused commotion in other rooms on the floor. In room 903, a little sister wearing a facial mask and pajamas suddenly opened the door. The little sister was nearsighted at 800 degrees and squinted as she looked at Suyu standing in the public area. With one hand on her hips, she cursed loudly. I said you're sick, aren't you? You've been making noise in public areas since noon. You kid, don't leave. I'll call the police station now and accuse you of disturbing the people. The little sister has a bad temper, speaking while picking up the phone. Suyu was never a rational person during the last 10 years of the apocalypse. Reasoning in the apocalypse makes it seem ridiculous to think about it. The only reason is to kill her, without any improvement to oneself. Suyu quietly explored her attributes. Level 1 has not been awakened, it seems that the current situation has not been clarified yet. So he wielded his bone-chopping knife and walked towards the room behind her, where a zombie walked out in a swaying manner. In the blurry view, the little sister thought that Suyu was provoking and her anger inevitably rose. I picked up a broom casually, cursing and ready to take action. It wasn't until Suyu approached that she realized. The man in front of me was covered in dripping blood all over his body. A huge sense of oppression made her feel suffocated. The little sister was frightened and fell to the ground, trembling as she took out her glasses from her pocket. I finally saw the bloody scene in the public area and was scared to pee on the spot. The elderly zombie had slowly moved and arrived at Mrs. side. Suyu suspected that this zombie might not be dying in the next second. It held the little sister's hand and placed it directly in its mouth. Probably without teeth, after nibbling on it for a long time, the little sister's mouth was full of saliva. The scene was extremely joyful, and it made Suyu all laugh. The little sister frowned and felt a pang in her hand. Under the relentless efforts of the zombie, she finally broke through her skin. After infecting Miss, the zombie rose to level 2, took small steps, and then turned around to attack Suyu. Come back to life. Suyu naturally accepted this kind of door-to-door delivery. With 3 or 2 cuts, he smiled and took in the 2 zombies in front of him with 30 experience points. This combination of old and young has released a supply capsule. A fragrant and spicy pot. Not bad. On the first day of the apocalypse, it would be quite luxurious to have a night of cola paired with rice. After confirming that the 9th floor had been cleared, Suyu turned his destination to the top 10th floor. The owner of this floor rented the house to a live streaming guild. Those who have settled in are said to be laid-off and re-employed personnel from Xingdu. There are probably more than 20 men, women, and management personnel. During the day, anchors clean windows, drive trains, and attract fans on regular live streaming platforms with large pendulums. Clearly mark prices to attract fans and purchase promotional photo videos. In the evening, switch to adult platforms, start live streaming shows, and crazily make money. For the top-ranked brother, there is even more in depth communication. As soon as she reached the 10th floor, Suyu was immediately surrounded by a large number of beautiful women standing up signs. The beautiful anchor is 38 years old, divorced with 2 children. Please lock in room number 9527, Star City Escape Princess, just turned 18 this year. Room number 02825, do you love me? Come in and collect your first love girlfriend, make sure it's the same as the cover. Live room ID 11037. On the signboard, they are all youthful and beautiful. But Suyu had seen their true face in Mount Lu. How to say it? Most of them are products of beauty and filters, and cannot be carefully examined. Here, in the previous life, a survivor with an S.level talent awakened. He became the leader of the entire building in one fell swoop, but secretly bullied men and women, and finally failed to survive the novice phase. So, Suyu still has some impressions of him. And plundering his talent was Suyu's goal. Breaking through the quiet room door is clearly not a wise choice. Suyu was prepared early and took out the newly obtained silver bird claw. Ding! By using the consumable silver bird claw, your observation power is slightly improved, lasting for 5 minutes. After the prompt sound, Suyu only felt his facial features instantly become sensitive, and his 3 senses became particularly clear. Originally obstructed by the gate, anomalies can also be detected through sound. I saw several rooms on the 10th floor with their doors closed. And the door of 1001 was half closed, with blood continuously dripping from it. The doors of rooms 1001 and 1002 are tightly closed, with 2 zombies each. The door of room 1003 opened wide and was now empty. The remaining 1004, with the room door half open, emitted an extremely strong smell of fresh blood. There should be no less than 10 corpses inside, clearly experiencing a major battle. And deep in the room, there was the chewing sound of a zombie and the breathing sound of 2 humans. It seems like this is where it is. To prevent long dreams at night, Suyu kicked open the door and shouted loudly. Open the door, FBI cracked down on pornography. Be honest with everyone. What caught the eye were the piled-up limbs and arms on the ground, including humans and zombies. But without exception, whether it's a man or a male zombie, their lower body is a mess of blood and flesh. The crimson blood covered the entire floor, walls, and ceiling of the room. A robust and naked male zombie with its back facing Suyu. It squatted in the hallway, carrying a piece of work in its hand, ready to deliver it to its mouth. And the bloody scene in front of us is exactly from the hands of this zombie. It should be noted that ordinary zombies, after infecting survivors, will consider them to be of the same kind and no longer attack. And zombies like it that directly devour humans are extremely rare. Usually only those who had extremely antisocial personalities in their past lives. After zombieization, some remaining memories become mutated zombies. I saw this zombie naked, muscular all over, covered in tattoos. The left arm sprays fire on a qilin, the right hand has 3 golden feet, the back carries 9 dragons to pull the coffin, and the front chest opens his eyes to Guangong. The amount of information is enormous. Good guy. Looking at the tattoo world, every pattern is quite explosive. This is not a tattoo, it's just a tattoo. This kind of tattoo doesn't have a strong enough destiny, how can it withstand it? Sure enough, it turned into a zombie, right? Chapter 8. Elite Zombies and Chinese Warbows. You are listening at novel full.audio. Su Yu immediately checked the opponent's attributes. Robust zombies. Mutation, level 3, elite, basic attributes. Strength 25, spirit 8, constitution 22, agility 15, the attribute is quite incredible, and ordinary people cannot withstand a few moves in front of it. However, currently Su Yu's attributes are not inferior to his. Like survivors, zombies can also be upgraded through hunting. In a short period of time, reaching level 3 demonstrates its formidable strength. But his spiritual value is not as good as the old man downstairs. I believe this big brother must be a master with well-developed limbs and a simple mind. Although not comparable to a boss, it still has a certain level of intelligence compared to ordinary zombies. The explosion rate of mutated zombies is not bad, of course it's worth a try. Without hesitation, the mutated zombie charged directly towards Su Yu. Su Yu smiled meaningfully and couldn't help but say, "Big brother. No wonder you mutated. It turns out you're an immature little bug." This big brother was originally the agent of the live streaming guild, tall and strong, but condensed into a small bug. Even taking medicine cannot awaken his little insects. When the bird sees him, it must say, "There's something to eat tonight." Being inhumane has created his anti-social and anti-human character. As a person, one can still suppress their emotions. After becoming a zombie, the remaining memories drove the body to start indiscriminate attacks. He also attempted to achieve the goal of impotence by supplementing the form with the form. This mutated zombie is tall and sturdy, with 5 big and 3 rough figures. With the strength of the bone-chopping knife, it is too difficult to strike and kill its head and heart with one blow. It can only lose its combat power first and then be killed with one strike. At this moment, the mutated zombie let out a roar, like a gust of wind, and approached Su Yu. Claw with a light green glow, hugging Su Yu in front of him. At the moment when Claw was about to come into contact with Su Yu, the mutated zombie's body suddenly stopped, and all attention was focused on Su Yu's hand. That is a jar carved with strange inscriptions, which has astonishing allure for zombies. Su Yu casually threw the pot of attracting enemies behind the mutated zombie, and its body visibly froze. Then, in an extremely eerie posture, turn around. This thing has a greater appeal to zombies than to living people. Although not very useful for dealing with bosses, the effect is remarkable for dealing with these zombies. Su Yu immediately bent down, and the bone-cutting knife in his hand also took the opportunity to face him. Bang! The long note in front is the sound of a bone-chopping knife cutting through the thigh of a mutated zombie. The sound of impact behind was the sound of the blade being bounced open by the thigh femur. With the help of the impact of the mutated zombie, a huge incision was made in its left leg. The mutated zombie stumbled but did not fall. Su Yu is not greedy for knives, he can retreat with just one strike. The blow just now made his hands holding the bone-chopping knife tingle. Before the battle, the bone cleaver had already had a gap. I didn't expect to fight the mutated zombies for a round and just curl up. Fortunately, Su Yu added all attribute points to his strength, otherwise even his skin would not be able to be cut open. This blow is very deadly for the humanity of the end times. But for zombies, it can only reduce their mobility. But that's enough. It has lost its left leg muscle and its movements have slowed down a lot, even making it difficult to turn around. The mutated zombie disregarded everything and rushed towards the nearby pot of attraction. After all, zombies do not feel pain and naturally do not know how to seek benefits and avoid harm. As long as there is still a trace of strength, one will act by instinct. In its eyes, at this moment, there is only the pot that lures the enemy. Suyu held the handle diagonally, as the mutated zombie pounced. Aiming at its right knee, he swung it hard. The bone-cutting knife hit the joint with unparalleled precision, and this time it collided directly with Sparks. The meniscus of the right leg was directly chopped. And the entire leg was also bent forward and bent 90 degrees. The mutated zombie suddenly lost its support and fell heavily to the ground. But it still extended its claws, crawling forward, desperately approaching the nearby tempting pot. Take advantage of its illness and take its life. However, Suyu will not give it a chance anymore. After 3 consecutive cuts, it finally cut its neck in 2. Ding! Successfully killed the mutated zombie LV3, gaining 60 experience and 6 coins. Ding! Upgrade to level 3 and gain 5 free attribute points. Ding! The Hand of Talent Plunder, remaining times 2, 60 points of experience. Not bad, it just happens to add 30 points of experience to level 3. After hearing the familiar system prompt, Suyu finally relaxed. The action just now seemed unbelievable to outsiders. But for Suyu, who had fought for 10 years in the apocalypse, it was just a sprinkle of water. After all, after dealing with them for 10 years, he had already mastered the habits of various zombies. However, after continuous attacks, the bone-cutting knife has severe cuts and curling blades. Obviously, it was no longer usable, and Suyu had no choice but to throw it away. The weapons of Blue Star are still too difficult to deal with these zombies. Kicked over the mutated zombie's body with 1 kick. Not bad. A material capsule, a weapon. Picking up the capsule, it suddenly read, a sumptuous barbecue feast for 4 people. Not bad, there's even a place for late-night snacks. Then, his gaze was fixed on the long bow. Bows and arrows. Interesting. Suyu's eyes lit up. Pick up the long bow, open the cola, and take a few sips. Then, we began to study this weapon. Huaxia Battle Bow. Excellent level equipment. The ancient standard long bow of the Huaxia Kingdom had a high tensile force, high efficiency, and a certain degree of penetration and lethality. Attribute. Strength +2, agility +3 passive. Ignores 10% of the enemy's defense. A long bow, 30 battle arrows. The Huaxia Battle Bow has been equipped. Warm reminder. Only one long-range weapon can be equipped at the same time. Equip the internal weapons of the bow and crossbow, and after killing the enemy, there is a certain chance to obtain arrows. Not bad. At least now there are long-range weapons of destruction. In the previous life, Suyu's awakening talent was the heart of a mage, so the best choice was the mage profession. In fact, in his heart, he still wants to be an archer. So Suyu also had a good understanding of the study of bows and arrows. Suyu tried shooting several arrows at the wall before stopping his movements. Then, recycle the remaining half of the cola into the bracelet. In the second bedroom, a man and a woman stared at Suyu's cola through the crack in the door, swallowing saliva. At this moment, the man was holding a 70 cm machete, and the blood on the blade had just solidified. On the bed behind him lay a naked male zombie corpse. The zombie was around 40 years old before his death, with a plump physique and a slightly bald head. It is the top-ranking brother in their live broadcast room. And everything in the bedroom, under the influence of the silver bird's claws, had already been perceived by Suyu. Chapter 9. Odd-even invariance. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The 2 people in the room are both in their early 20s, not very old, but by no means virtuous and faithful. The yellow-haired man has a medium-sized figure, full of yellow teeth, and there are several prominent knife and cigarette scars on his body. Xiao Taimei has heated suspender pants, chestnut long hair, a petite and plump figure, and a strong sense of wind and dust. The two are considered a couple of mistresses, who have just entered the industry and are known for their realistic, bold and large-scale live streaming. And the big brother who came to communicate last night turned into a zombie when the apocalypse came. At that time, while Big Brother 1 was communicating with little sister, Huang Mao, who was both a boyfriend and a photographer, was quick-witted. Big Brother Bang knelt down tightly, and the two of them exerted a lot of effort before working together to kill him. I don't know if it's good luck or bad luck, but Big Brother on the list has exploded a supply capsule. A portion of pickled vegetables with steamed buns. The two fought fiercely for a long time, and it was because they were hungry that they wolfed down their food. When people are hungry, everything they eat is fragrant. Even without water, one can swallow dry. However, after eating the pickled cabbage steamed buns, I only feel dry in my mouth and tongue. Just as the two were about to go out and search for water, the clever Huang Mao heard the commotion outside the door. Through the crack in the door, I witnessed the merciless slaughter of the mutated zombie brother during this period. Later, I saw the unilateral massacre by Su Yu. Especially in the end, Su Yu deliberately pulled out the large bottle of happy water. Just hearing his swallowing sound and the hiccup after drinking it was simply a killer. When a person is in a desperate situation, they can do anything, which is called animal instinct. So, when Su Yu was studying the Chinese war bow, the two began to whisper. "Brother, that's right, he's a college student living on the 8th floor. Indeed impressive. Judging from his delicate and tender appearance, he was able to kill Brother Diwu. The Diwu brother in their mouths is the mutated zombie just now." Huang Mao extended his finger, blocking his mouth, and then used it to learn the technique and check Su Yu's information. Basic information, name. Solitary wolf title. Tianxian Ren level. 3 occupation. None vocal, the lone wolf. The big shot mentioned in the world announcement just now. It's really terrifying. Really, brother. No wonder he could kill Brother Jean with just 2 strikes. The little girl also followed suit and excitedly said, "Brother, should we go out? He's so powerful, he can definitely protect us." Huang Mao quickly stopped and calmly said, "So many apocalyptic novels have been read for nothing. Even if you shout for help, hold a white flag, and appear unarmed, you may be shot by friendly forces. Brother, you're so smart." The little girl was a bit hesitant and felt that Huang Mao's words made a lot of sense. Huang Mao swallowed his saliva and continued to analyze. "Do you still remember the book we recently read, Doomsday Villain? The son of the opening blade god's choice. In the apocalypse, the villain launched a surprise attack and killed the chosen son, taking over the harem as the protagonist. And his weapon is a bow and arrow, which cannot be used in this narrow place. Anyway, it's the end of the world. Give it a try, bike to motorcycle. I am also an S.level talent. Kill him, the chosen son of this day, I will become him." The little girl was a bit embarrassed and said, "Brother, isn't that good?" Huang Mao remembered his enlightenment life in prison and casually said, "I have studied the law." He committed homicide and was sentenced to death immediately. The little girl's eyes lit up and she said, "Brother, you're amazing. You've even learned the Dharma before." Brother has learned a lot. After finishing this vote, we will be the protagonists, and we will eat delicious food and drink spicy food every day. Huang Mao even fantasized about the feeling of the pinnacle of life in the future. "Okay, brother, I'll listen to you." After explaining the tactics, Huang Mao made a gesture and said, "Princess, please start your performance." The little girl nodded and instantly transformed into someone else's appearance. She pinched her throat and shouted, "Help, help. Huang Mao held a watermelon knife and hid behind the door. As long as Su Yu entered, he could wield his sword and kill him. What the two of them didn't know was that every word they said was listened to by Su Yu. Until hearing that Huang Mao claimed to have an S.level talent, Su Yu couldn't help but be overjoyed. It seems that the other party has already completed the first kill, saving themselves some trouble. Previously, he remained silent and waited for himself to kill the mutated zombie before taking action, indicating that the opponent was not very intelligent. Su Yu walked over with steady steps, but the sound of footsteps suddenly disappeared at the door of the room. At this moment, the men and women inside the room also had their hearts in their throats. If killing zombies at the beginning is considered self-defense, the active ambush this time was actually a proactive killing. For both of them, there is still some nervousness. With a creak, the door opened. The body of Brother Bangi has been covered by a thick blanket. A young girl with disheveled hair and disheveled clothes curled up in the corner of the bedroom, feeling a burst of spring light. Elegant in appearance and temperament, full of immortality, but the inherent dust and wind cannot be erased. Su Yu immediately scanned the other party's information and couldn't imagine buying one get one free, and there was also an unexpected joy. Doll's sister, LV1, no profession, C.level talent. Mask disguise. This talent, although only at level C, is great. Being able to hide personal information and transform oneself, it is a must-have for Lao Lu. Su Yu held his bow and arrow, but did not enter the door. He looked at the little girl in the corner at the door. The little girl widened her eyes, her gaze wandering between Su Yu and Huang Mao. Huang Mao was holding a knife, sweating profusely at the moment. He wanted to stare at the door and occasionally look back, hoping she could give some hints. Time seemed to have come to a standstill, and the three of them fell into a delicate balance. Huang Mao frowned and winked at the little girl, gesturing for her to burn more. So, the little girl changed her posture and the thin shoulder straps of her pajamas drooped to the side. Legs curled up parallel to shoulders, career line and camel toes faintly visible. Coupled with this dim yellow light, it can only be said that those who engage in debauchery have a strong taste when they see it. Little brother, thank you. You're so amazing. You defeated the big monster outside. My younger sister, I am a college student who came to work part-time, but ended up facing the end of the world. Woo-woo, little brother, but my leg is injured. Can you hold me out? The little girl spread her hands and had an innocent expression on her face. This set of silky and smooth small combos triggered a physiological reaction in the ambush of Huang Mao, thinking to himself. Damn it, it's too hot. This is a man, can he hold it? Tomorrow, make sure she transforms into this kind of person and feels great. Strange changes, even changes. Su Yu suddenly asked. Are you a college student? Is this always possible? Chicken. Lotus root. Is it food? My younger sister has some culinary skills. If you have any ingredients, my younger sister will give them to you. Little Taimei didn't even graduate from elementary school and answered off topic. Which serious college student would choose the name, doll sister? No wonder these people like to say they are college students. The bigger the storm, the more expensive the fish. Does the higher the education level, the more expensive the meat. The reputation of college students has been tarnished by these people. Chapter 10. Plunder S.level talents. Double strike. You are listening at novel full.audio. At this moment, Su Yu realized that the skill distance was sufficient. So, he silently used the hand of Plunder on little Lori. Ding! You used the hand of Plunder against the survivor, doll's sister, and successfully looted your talent. Remaining times. 1, ding. You have obtained a C.level talent. Disguise mask. Talent. Disguise mask, C.level, talent level. C.level, disguise. Disguise or hide personal information. Only when the opponent's level is higher than level 3 can they be seen through. Masks. Transformed into the appearance of others, lasting for 1 hour, can be used once a day. After being plundered of her talent, little Loli only felt that her transformed tall body was gradually becoming shorter. And the originally pure and charming face, visible to the naked eye, has become heavily make-up and alluring whoosh. As soon as the words fell, Huang Mao could only feel the sound of breaking the wind in his ear. Ah! Little Loli let out a heart-wrenching cry. Little Loli, who had been deprived of her talent, no longer cared about life or death. And using her to force Huang Mao out was Su Yu's goal. This arrow pierced through her left palm, then through her collarbone, and directly nailed to the wall. Su Yu kept pulling her bow, and little Loli was hit by an arrow in all 4 limbs. The intense pain left her unresponsive, and she had already exhaled more and inhaled less following the arrow. Huang Mao instinctively opened his mouth wide. All of this came too suddenly, and Su Yu's unreasonable attack frightened him greatly. After all, Huang Mao can be considered a ruthless character. Anyway, both horizontal and vertical are dead. Let's see how strong this SSS level talent is. Huang Mao finally couldn't help but hold a watermelon knife and charged out with a murderous aura. Lone wolf, dare to touch my woman. I'll kill you. In fact, even before Huang Mao decided to take action, he was already prepared to be counterattacked. Su Yue remained calm and took a step back, flashing behind him while scanning the opponent's attributes. Trying to kill him was just a casual matter, but his talent hasn't been obtained yet. Old driver exploring flowers, LV1, no profession, S.level talent. Double strike. Hehe, indeed, it's an S.level talent. However, both of them are currently only at level 1, it seems that they completed the kill together. Both of them shared 5 points of experience, which is why they both gained awakening. Huang Mao waved his watermelon knife as he continued to chop towards Su Yu, his mouth never stopping. A woman's leg was injured and she hid in the room seeking help. Is that wrong? That's right. So why did you kill her? You don't know how to cherish fragrance and jade at all. Damn it. What about SSS level talents? Don't think I'm afraid of you. Watching Su Yu fight and retreat, Huang Mao even had the illusion that there was really a chance to kill him. Su Yu noticed that every time Huang Mao waved his watermelon knife, a shadow appeared in mid-air. This is a double blow, all attacks will cause 2 damages. Not bad. Su Yu sold a loophole, and Huang Mao stabbed the mutated zombie's body with a single blow. This knife struck too hard, and Huang Mao's hands were numb from the shock of its hard ribs. At this moment, Su Yu used a plundering hand. Ding! You used the hand of plunder against the survivor, old driver Tanhua, and your talent plundered successfully. Remaining times 0, ding. You have obtained an S.level talent. Double strike. The next second, Huang Mao lifted his head, but the blade remained in mid-air, and the muscles at the corner of his mouth kept twitching. At this moment, Su Yu had already drawn his full bow, with the arrow pressing against his forehead. Huang Mao knew that as long as Su Yu let go, his head would bloom. The watermelon knife fell to the ground with a slap, and Huang Mao immediately changed into a flattering smile. Use the top-notch facial contouring technique when receiving gifts in the live broadcast room, constantly kneeling and begging for mercy. Boss. I was wrong, we shouldn't have had your idea. You have a lot. Boss, I don't know anything about it. If I don't want to die, please spare me. Not killing you. It's not impossible. Su Yu said. As soon as he said this, Huang Mao was stunned. He had already thought he was bound to die. After all, in apocalyptic novels, one's plea for mercy is just a process. In theory, the protagonist is about to take action and will take the boxed lunch offline. Which of the male protagonists in the novel is not a decisive and ruthless character? Why doesn't this person play cards according to the routine? He never expected that Su Yu would spare him. You didn't lie to me, did you, big shot? Huang Mao's voice trembled slightly. Of course I didn't lie to you. I love to tell the truth the most. Killing you won't do me any good, Su Yu replied sincerely, smiling brightly. That's right. Boss. I'm an S.level talent, keep my life, I'll be your little brother, and I'll definitely be determined in the future. Huang Mao chuckled along. But he only felt that Su Yu was smiling so sunny and cheerful. Raising his hand and shooting, Huang Mao could only hear a piercing sound in his ear. An arrow directly hit Huang Mao's thigh, but 2 bloody holes appeared, instantly rendering him unable to escape. Ah! Ah! Huang Mao screamed twice in a row, clearly only attacking once. Why did he cause 2 injuries? Ah! Ah! It was another arrow, and Huang Mao finally realized it. Isn't it the same as his dual strike talent? At this point, Huang Mao had completely lost his athletic ability and even his voice became incredibly weak. Boss, didn't you say that you're the most trustworthy and won't kill me? He said with a breakdown in his mouth. Yeah. I said I wouldn't kill you. Su Yu finished speaking and turned around and walked out the door. Huang Mao held on to his breath and tried to find a way out of the predicament. What do you mean? The big shot is deposing me, do you want me to be on my own? Humph, 30 years in the East and 30 years in the West, don't deceive young people into poverty. When I'm out of trouble, I must seek revenge on you. I have an S.level talent, so I have a chance to turn things around. Oh, where is my talent? Ah! Zombies are coming. After Su Yu left, he hid in the dark and used a bow and arrow to break the door locks of 1001 and 1002. The zombies inside have finally been liberated. They naturally targeted the 2 dying people in room 1004. Su Yu really wants to kill these 2 people, it's just a matter of minutes. But what benefits does this have for him? Isn't it better to turn into a zombie before killing? This is called maximizing benefits. While waiting for the 2 to be infected, Su Yu finally had time to check the talent he had just plundered. Talent. Double strike, S.level, talent level. S level. Coke on ice, double happiness. Survivors with this talent will deal twice the damage from all attacks. After plundering 3 talents, Su Yu finally obtained the first combat type talent. Undoubtedly an S.level talent, simple and rough, without any twists and turns. Shooting 1 arrow is equivalent to shooting 2 arrows. 1 cut is equivalent to 2 cuts. 1 shock wave equals 2 shock waves. Since there are no restrictions, it means even a big move can double the happiness. It's just so plain and unadorned. 9 cows and 10 bulls chasing after each other. Really amazing. Su Yu remembers that the first warrior god in China that year possessed this talent.